In a small, cozy town where life flowed calmly and measuredly, there lived a young dreamer named Omar. He was unlike the other townsfolk. While most people were content with their daily routines and small joys, Omar had a grand dream: to conquer the highest mountain that loomed beyond the town. It was so tall that its peak was often shrouded in clouds. The locals called it the Sky Mountain, and none of the townspeople had ever attempted to reach its summit. Omar often stood at the town's edge, gazing into the distance. "One day, I will climb that mountain," he repeated to himself. His dream seemed lofty but absurd to others. Neighbors laughed at Omar. "No one has ever reached the top of that mountain. It's impossible. Do you think you're special?" Others simply sighed sympathetically. A young, naive dreamer. Why not focus on something real? But Omar paid no attention to these words. His dream lived within him, burning with a fire no one could extinguish. One morning, as the sun was just beginning to rise, Omar set off for the mountain's base. He knew it would be difficult to climb alone, but he was determined not to give up. At first, he tried to find a path upward, but steep cliffs and thick brush quickly blocked his way. He returned to town, deep in thought. How could he climb the mountain when even starting seemed impossible? Then an idea struck him. If a direct path was inaccessible, why not create one himself? Omar decided to build a staircase. The idea was so bold that even his friends couldn't understand it. "A staircase? Are you serious? Why waste time and energy?" they asked. But Omar was confident in his decision. "A staircase will be my path to the summit. I can climb higher if I build a solid foundation step by step," he replied. The work was hard. Every day, Omar went into the forest, cutting wood for the steps, chiseling stones for support, and carrying materials to the mountain's base. He worked from morning till night, even when everyone else was resting. Sometimes at night, he had to light his way with a lantern to keep building. The townsfolk began calling him crazy. "He's wasting his life on a pointless endeavor," they said. Some even mocked him. "You're building a staircase to the clouds. Why, when you don't even know if you'll reach the summit?" But Omar didn't stop. He knew that every step he built brought him closer to his goal. Each strike of the hammer, each plank of wood. It wasn't just physical labor but a symbol of his belief in himself. A year passed. Omar's staircase began to rise. It now towered above the trees, and even the most skeptical townsfolk started to notice it. People came to the mountain's base to see Omar's work. Some even began to support him, bringing food, offering help. One day, an old carpenter approached Omar and said, "You remind me of myself in my youth. I too had a dream but was afraid of the hard path. Take these tools, they will help you." These words inspired Omar. He realized that his efforts were not only producing physical results but also changing the people around him. After several years, the staircase reached the clouds. Omar stood at the top of his work and looked down. He saw the town, now appearing tiny, just like all the doubts that once surrounded him. The last few days had been the hardest. Cold winds, rain, and exhaustion tested his willpower. But in that moment, as he took the final step and emerged onto the mountain's summit, he felt it had all been worth it. The view from the top was breathtaking. Mountains, valleys, rivers. Everything unfolded before him in unimaginable beauty. Omar felt not only the joy of victory but also a deep understanding. Every step, every day of work had led him to this moment. When he returned to town, people greeted him as a hero. No one laughed at his dream anymore. Moreover, many began to reflect on their own goals. The moral of the story: dreams by themselves mean nothing if not followed by action. Those who want to rise will build the stairs. This simple truth became Omar's key to success. His story reminds us that every great journey begins with small steps and that every grand dream requires perseverance, self-belief, and a willingness to work, even when no one else believes in your success. So, if you have your own mountain, don't wait. Start building your staircase today. If you like this video, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate it.